Okay, everybody, I brought my megaphone. I'm bringing my mic here. Hey, anybody that can hear me right now, so if you haven't listened to the show before, one of our participants here, his name's Charlie Davies. He likes to get triggered very, like a lot, okay? So we have a microphone right here. And more often than not, you guys get to trigger us through the anonymity of the internet. But here, we want you to come up and look deep into Charlie Davies' eyes and try to trigger the man, the myth, the legend that is Chuck Wagon. So here's the microphone if you'd like to come up and ask any of us a question, but primarily, Chuck, we really want you to do that. Don't be scared.
Good.
Yeah, it's right there. Right. Mike's right there. What do you got for us?
Giovanni.
All right, Giovanni.
Blanco was better than Donovan.
Whoa.
Blanco
better than Landon Donovan.
No. And I got to play with Landon. I never got to play with Cuauhtémoc Blanco. I got to see him play when we played Mexico in Azteca.
Blanco's good.
Blanco's very good. But I think Landon is underappreciated truly when he was at his peak. And I got to see him play against Spain. I got to see him play against Brazil in the Confederations Cup. And that goal he scored against Brazil in the final was one of the best goals you could ever imagine from a U.S. player at the highest level. So I have to say Landon Donovan is better than Cuauhtémoc Blanco.
I played with both of them. One was in an MLS All-Star game, so I don't know if that really counts. But I got to run around with him. I got to play against him a few times. The only advantage that Blanco has over Landon is that he does not look like an athlete at all. He looks like he should be managing an Office Depot. And somehow he's a tremendous soccer player. But outside of that, Landon's got him in everything else.
I played against both of them, and Blanco didn't keep me up at night. Landon kept me up a couple of nights.
Yeah.
I would take Landon.
Okay. Nice try, Giovanni. Did not trigger Chuck.
Not at all.
Anybody else? Uh-oh.
Who's the better U.S. men's national team player, Christian Pulisic or Landon Donovan?
Christian Pulisic or Landon Donovan?
I think in the end, Christian Pulisic will be the better player.
Yeah. He'll have the better numbers.
Yeah.
But the assists we don't talk about Landon's assists enough.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the record holder forever, right? Until Messi just broke it. But what I will say is, in the big moments, Landon came through. And not to say that Christian hasn't, because he hasn't domestically, but
Whoa. He put his
body on the line.
He put his nether region on the line against Iran.
But Landon, I look at that Mexico game in the knockout rounds in the 2002 World Cup as a youngster coming up big, massive against our biggest rivals and stepping up in that moment to get to a quarterfinal. So, like I said, Christian has all the talent in the world. I love Christian, but he still has a ways to go to overcome Landon, and I know he'll get there.
All right. Yeah, Landon. All right. We appreciate you. All right, who's up next?
Hi, my name's Antonio. I'm from the Inland Empire.
What's up, Antonio, from the IE?
So we had some Gold Cup erasure earlier.
We did.
And, not a full squad tournament, but it's supposed to be, our tournament for the region. Obviously, we have Nations League. It's great. But do we need to go to a 4-year cycle for the Gold Cup to have that be, a tournament that's not an afterthought anymore?
Yeah, good question.
So you're thinking FIFA and CONCACAF are going to cut games? is that where you're going? It's not really trending in that direction.
I would tell you one thing. The Gold Cup used to be the standard because it could get you a ticket to the Confederations Cup. And that's why it was so important. Everyone wanted to win the Gold Cup. You brought your best players because the Confederations Cup was a rehearsal before the World Cup in the same country against the best teams in the world. That doesn't exist anymore. So now teams are like, I don't want to send my player. Players are tired. They don't want to play in it because they know the meeting is not the same. So it was similar to Nations League. We thought, what are we going to get from it? And it feels like Nations League has almost become more important than the Gold Cup. So I think they have to figure out a way to re-inspire teams, nations to want to play in the Gold Cup. And I don't know if it's trophies or if there's a certain tournament that you can be a part of, but I think something needs to change.
There's one thing that inspires teams.
Cash.
It's a little bit of cash. That'll get you there.
Exactly right. Good question.
Yeah.
But didn't trigger us.
But
maybe later in the show.
I would say an automatic bid to play in Copa America. Maybe something like that.
Now you're
I
talking.
like it.
That would be
I like
good.
where your head's at, Chuck. Now, before we end the show, if there's anybody that wants to take one last swing at Charlie Davies to try to trigger
or trigger Jimmy, or we're gonna leave Tony
easier.
alone. But let's trigger
we have
Jimmy.
Very specific things to trigger us. Chuck gets triggered by a lot. Yeah. Go on, let's go. Right here. Grab the mic. Grab the mic. Grab the mic. Come around and grab the mic.
Uh-oh.
What do we got?
Yes, go ahead.
This is it's an interesting time in America. How does that play out on the field? These are countries that have reasons to be angry with us. There's bulletin board material to be had. Canada, Panama, Mexico may all be upset with the current policies. How does that affect locker rooms? Does it matter at all in an international match?
It's a great question. I can tell you, if it was happening during my time as a player, my focus would be all about my family, representing the city and the New England where I come from the right way, carrying myself the right way. We all also, as athletes, don't feel that we can have the power to change a lot of things that happen in politics, but we feel that we can inspire a lot of people with the way that we play. And I would have just gone out and played with my heart and said, I'm playing for the same reason why I started playing, which is because I love the game and I hope to open more doors for kids. That's literally how I would play it, because I knew any other way would probably be dangerous, because in all reality, if you're not as educated as you would need to be to have certain conversations, then the only thing I can do is represent my family and myself the best way possible.
But there was a World Cup game versus Iran, right?
I wasn't in that one.
No,
but
it was your era. How does that sort of play out?
Yeah, I don't know that athletes, if you're in a World Cup game, I don't know that you get too much, you get caught up that much in it. You're playing in a World Cup. You understand not only politics, but just your own family. You got so many things going on in your life, right? Life doesn't stop when you're playing a game. You go through the good stuff and having a kid, and you got to go play a game. And there's things that don't go well politically that you don't agree. That you still got to play a game. There's a death in your family, got to play a game, right? So you learn to deal with all of these things. I think in general, when guys go out to play, that's your time, man. You're not really worried about all these other things. And that's how I would approach it. I was there for one thing, and it was to try and win a game. And the rest of it's happening around me.
I think one thing to add is that when I represented our country at a World Cup, I knew in that moment that everybody back home had my back. Like that never happened in any other part of my professional career, because the other team pretty much hated me. And that's how it should be, right? That's part of the fun, is that challenge to try to prove people wrong. And so I loved that moment, and I think the guys will feel the same. When you put on the jersey, you're representing everybody. And in that moment, everybody's on the same page and hoping that you're going to win. So it's pretty cool.
And didn't you always feel like no matter where?
I appreciate it.
No problem. I mean, you went from going triggering Chuck to making sentimental Chuck. So I don't think I've ever seen that before. Well played. Well played.
Didn't you always play like everywhere you thought they hated America anywhere?
That's
everywhere
true,
you went, right?
Yeah.
You're like,
That's
they hate
something to
the big, bad America. Like, that's how you always felt
right.
when you were playing, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, go ahead. Grab the mic. Try to trigger Chuck if you can.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. Yeah. So my question is about the upcoming World Cup, right? Based off the fact that we had this World Cup, and that was like the first stage of like the U.S. being on the center stage and doing all of those things. And now this is like our next step to go like that step further, right? You all have talked about like USL, relegation, promotion, and all of that stuff. But this is about getting the next generation to be ready, to put us there where I think Puss said like, within 5 years, we can be number one, right? But when we're hearing the rumors about how high the ticket prices are going to be, this is different than any other World Cup, right? I'm looking at it where it's like it's more of a money grab than it is like to get people to be invested. And I just wanted to know like what your thoughts are on that, because we're hearing like baseline tickets are going to be going for somewhere around $600. Like somebody that have like one kid, let's not even do two. I wouldn't
have been able to go to a game. I would have never played the sport, because I would have never been able to go to a game and feel what it means to be united with the world.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, I needed to see other people that look different from me all coming together to celebrate in this special moment. So you would have lost a player like me, because I would have never been able to go to a game. My parents could have never afforded a ticket like that. So I hope that tickets don't exceed prices where families who don't have the means have no chance of going, because that's ultimately what we want to do, is continue to grow the game. Now, if you're going to tell me it's only a wealthy person's game, which goes against what the game's about, then you're ruining the chance to really drive the game forward. So I can only hope and wish that the tickets don't get out of hand.
Because, I mean, that's exactly what we're seeing right now. It's not just the World Cup, right? You got Premier League teams, right? All of these European teams, they're coming over here. Right, Manchester United, they're trying to take the tickets of $66. And these people want to burn the city down, right? And we can't process that. So is that whole aspect, like, I mean, the rumors are just insane, right? Even the base level where us as fans, when we go, we're American Outlaws supporters, we're in the 100 section, we're sitting behind the goals. We're not even going to have access to that if these rumors are true. So I just wanted to know, like, how do you guys feel about that?
No. Once they expanded the tournament from 32 to 48, I think we all knew what it was about.
Yep.
Yeah, they can say it's about expanding the game, and there's an element of that for sure,
Yep.
but it allowed them to, especially in a market that could manage extra games,
Yep.
let's take advantage of it. Wow, 94 blew our minds.
Yeah.
Let's try to add 16 more teams and add another week of games. Doesn't matter if the players can't handle it. More games is fine.
Right.
More money, more games. So yeah, there's a lot of elements that I don't like about it, but there is something so special about the World Cup and how it does bring everybody together. I'm torn because it's almost like my support of Newcastle. I love that they're winning something, but I want to take a shower because the Saudi money's involved, you know? So it's like, it's a really weird feeling. Anyway, that's a different conversation. I saw your look over to Big Tony.
I was like, what is Tony going to go after?
No, but I'm ultimately, yes, it's going to, I hope they could find a way to make ticket prices manageable, but I think we can all sit here and say it's not going to be manageable.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's going to be whoever has the most is going to get the most, and that's unfortunate. And they should carve out some room for the young Charlie Davieses to be able to go to a game and experience what that means and what it feels like. Now, for me, I didn't get to go to a game.
That's a game changer.
It is.
If you can't afford it, I would highly suggest, like my family, just go in and around the stadium and just be a part of the festivities because that'll change your life in a positive way too. Big Tones.
I'm just curious. Are they going to be that much more expensive than past World Cups?
Oh,
like
yes.
The last World Cup?
Yes.
Right?
Significantly.
I've seen emails being passed around for club seats for packages at $40,000.
Yes.
Well, we're just showing that
$40,000.
the Club World Cup just did this.
Right.
Right. We just did this with the Club World Cup, right? And they had to lower the prices because nobody's buying Club World Cup tickets because we were doing it on air one day and it was like Miami, the first game, the last row of the stadium was almost $500 in the last row of the stadium. So they've since gone back and changed all of that now. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know who you're dealing with, right?
You're still here? Yes! I absolutely love that. Listen, while I have your attention, if you want more average to good soccer content, this is the channel for you. Go check out our other videos. Go check out our playlists. And if you're really liking what you're seeing, I don't know how you couldn't, hit like, hit subscribe, of course, and then turn on your notifications so that you do not miss anything that we drop or when we go live. We'd really appreciate that. We'll see you next time.